Welcome to July. July is a month where we're going to be exploring the HeartWay concept of releasing the shame. This is the card for July. And before we go into what this is all about, July is a halfway point. It's a point of reflection. It's I'm sure many of you have found June to be a place of disturbance. What I mean by that is there's been a lot of pulling in June, really trying to pull apart certain things and get certain things revealed. And so last month we had the card Appreciate the Beauty of Your Life, and really sitting in the messiness of life and learning how to appreciate yourself in your life and the life that you have can be quite a difficult thing without getting into an avoidance technique. And so before we go into this consciousness of July, it can be useful to just give yourself a pause point and a well done. You know, we don't step back enough and celebrate how far we've come and the things we've done and the things we are facing and the healing that is happening within us. And sometimes it doesn't feel like much is happening. But the truth is we're never stuck. We're always moving. And something is always shifting. So before we go into releasing the shame as an idea, honor yourself. Thank yourself. Acknowledge yourself. And give yourself a moment to see how amazing you are, how beautiful you are, and how sacred you are. And this really is an important part of how we enter into July, is learning the art of self-compassion, the willingness to look at ourselves through the lens of care, to see ourselves with our heart open. We often tend to be kinder, more generous, more loving, more supportive even to other people, and a little bit more critical and judgmental of ourselves. And self-compassion is really the entry point to this idea of shame that we're talking about in July. When many people see this card, Release the Shame, there's almost a sort of sense of like, oh no, this needs to be hard and difficult and sort of heavy work. But this is actually the card of freedom. It's the card of liberation. It's the card of setting ourselves free from our own internal judgment system. Shame is an internal dynamic that happens for every single human being. If we sit and we look at shame, and often I say to clients, I feel like that's shame for you. And they say, no, I don't even know what shame is. And it's almost like we're ashamed of shame. We all have shame. Shame of something we said, something we did, shame of who we are, how we look, how we feel, shame about our thoughts. We feel ashamed. And underneath the feeling of ashamed is always the idea of not being good enough. And this is why perfectionism and shame are sort of best friends. They work next to each other. Whenever we're looking at the part of ourselves that feels hidden and secretive because of shame, there's always a part of ourselves that is there being perfect, a sort of expectation of how we should be in the world that we never really meet up to. And this gap is shame. Now I said shame, this Release the Shame is the card of liberation. If you have a look at the card, you'll see this big self holding a cage where the small self feels trapped. And that's what shame is like. It's that secret place that we go and hide things. Brené Brown, in her book Atlas of the Heart, talks about how shame needs 3 things to be breed: judgment, silence, and secrecy. Judgment, silence, and secrecy is the festering of shame. We go and hide it away, in its own little prison. We put that part of ourselves into that prison. And whenever you go and explore that prison, we'll find some guards, some bodyguards, those that are out to protect us, to say, don't go in there, it's dangerous. That part of us is dangerous. And so we often have to work through our protective layers, the mechanisms that we have created to defend and protect and look after ourselves to survive in this world. We've created those layers. And then behind that is a part of us that is hiding in the corner, feeling hurt, lonely, insecure, and not good enough. When we start to explore what shame is about, we all have stories of things that have led us to feel shameful. And this leads very closely to the feeling of being humiliated. When someone humiliates us, we often feel ashamed. That shameful part of us goes into hiding and is desperately seeking care and attention. So the month of July is asking us to explore how we hold ourselves trapped in this cycle of smallness. Not with the lens of interrogation, not with a lens of it's wrong, but with the heart of self-compassion. One of the exercises I'd really encourage you to explore this month is to write a letter to the previous versions of you that you're ashamed of. Maybe it's to the little girl who stole her friend's lunch once and never told anybody. Yeah. I had an experience of shame this weekend. I switched off the gas heater in my office and then switched off the gas. When I came in the next morning, it was still releasing gas. It was safe, but I felt desperately ashamed that I'd done something so stupid. And so I decided to keep that as a secret. And this morning, my partner, Eric, walked in the room and I said, I have something to divulge. And I told him what I'd done. And he was like, oh, we can all do that. Isn't that a lovely response? Oh, we've all done that. Because it dissolves the secrecy, the silence, and the judgment. So when someone's brave enough to tell you about something they're ashamed of, it needs empathy, compassion, support, validation, especially from ourselves. Breaking the, we've just gone into load shedding, so the light has changed. So that's what happened there. Breaking the silence is really important, but what's even more important is choosing the right people to talk to. Not everybody is a vehicle of compassion and empathy when it comes to revealing our secrets, the parts of ourselves that we want to embrace. Because if we do that with somebody who has not got the ability to be present, to hold it, it can hurt quite a lot. I guess I experience that daily in my practice with people where they reveal stuff to themselves. I've never told anybody that. I've never even knew that myself. I've never said that out loud. I hear these words often. And that's a releasing of shame. And what happens when we release that, it releases trapped energy. It creates space for more power, for more light, for more efficacy. Efficacy is that I'm able to deal with light. So the more shame we're holding on to, the more energy we have trapped in us. Every time we lighten that, we release it with compassion and empathy and kindness, energy flows within us. And so finding people or using journaling or releasing it to yourself through the lens of care is a way to find the energy within you to be able to move forward. And that is why this card has come up now in our journey, is as we are progressing, we had your dreams are calling you forward. Yeah, appreciate the beauty of your life. Now let's release all the trapped energy that exists within you, I say all that needs to right now, so that you can free yourself from the binds, the hiddenness, the secrecy of being you. I remember doing a session with somebody where the way it was presented was meeting a previous version of herself and thanking that version of herself for the choices she'd made, so that she could be free from the judgment and the shame that that choice was incorrect. All of these ways of meeting ourselves with love brings us closer into wholeness and healing and alignment, and freer to walk our truth, freer to pursue our missions and callings, freer to be the whole version of you in the world. So this is a month of tenderness and care. This is a month of allowing yourself to be human in your humanness. Sending you lots of love. Namaste.